just gotta take notes with us or something. They can all sit in here. Maybe that could be mentioned at the early onsets. Well, if we need to mention it, we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
6 o'clock. Tracy. I think so. I'll call the meeting to order. Okay, 6 o'clock. We're going to call the meeting to order. Let me say the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to make a motion that Trustee Burt will be overseeing, presiding over the meeting in absence of Supervisor Miller.
Support.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, I guess we'll call, roll call, Manya.
Trustee Burt,
Present.
Supervisor Miller absent, Trustee Clee,
Present.
Trustee Campbell,
Present.
Treasurer Anderson,
Present.
Clerk Triplett, present, and Trustee Favdahl.
Present.
Thank you.
Okay, under additions and deletions, we do have action item F, is to hire the full-time vacancy in the tax department.
I also have it's more of an informational item, I guess, that I'd like to add.
And
Conversation.
You had time to ask
Did I have time to ask who?
me.
I don't have any information.
I don't have
I
to
need
give you
you to-
one.
Okay, the chair didn't recognize you to talk,
Okay.
so I would like you to take that back.
And I'm not going to take it back, Barb. You can keep on talking if you want to talk, but don't talk to me in that way.
You're out of order. You are out of order. The chair has not recognized you to talk. And I'm not going to allow you at any time to slander anyone or attack their character, period. Do you understand?
Barb,
You cannot speak.
I can speak if I want to speak.
You are out of order.
I can be out of order.
You are out of order. Okay, that's 3 times. That paper needs to go back. If you think that there's anything that's happened or should be investigated, you can file a complaint tomorrow, and that will take place. But you are not,
I'll share it with the
he's out of
public
order.
when I.
She's out of order. Gilner, would you like to say anything? He's our attorney. I've asked her to stop.
So, we're at additions, deletions to the agenda. That would be where things are appropriate. We can only remove people for disturbances at the meeting. I'm not sure whether speaking qualifies as such, but my suggestion is we just go to additions, deletions to the agenda and see if we can plow forward.
So that means what? I mean, seriously, I chair this meeting to keep a decorum, keep it going, okay? I know what she is passing out. It is not okay. She's had, I don't even want to go there, but the point is that I didn't ask for her to speak, and she wants to add something that I think is slanderous.
So if she wishes to add something to the agenda, she can make a motion, or anybody can make a motion to add to the agenda, and that gets voted up or down. If
Okay.
it gets added, then it's included in the agenda, and if it's voted down, it doesn't get added.
She hasn't been. Can I ask?
Can I make a motion at this time?
May I ask a point of order? the first addition, if I may, the first addition was to add item F. And item F was to, at this point, hire a full-time employee. And I don't mean to be negative about employees, but unless, I didn't see anything, is there something I missed in the agenda? I mean, in the packet
No,
itself?
this was just done at the end of the day. We've done all the interviews,
Okay.
and to have this person start in 2 weeks and give notice to the job, it'll come at the next meeting, but Kevin did not provide anything, no.
So may I ask a question then, if I may?
Yes?
Are you saying that we are going to receive the information from Kevin, as far as the person that did the interviewing, and then we'd be able to make an educated decision on this, correct?
You can. We interviewed 5 people. She scored the highest, and she's already working here part-time. I don't want to give her name out. She
I understand, no, I
requested us
understand.
not to.
I'm just saying, I'm all for it, no offense, but if we're gonna hire that
Then,
individual.
all right, so we have, I need a motion to put action item F on the agenda. If not,
I make a motion that we add item F to the agenda to hire a full-time staff person in the, was it sewer and water, did you say?
Tax
Tax
department.
department. Support.
Do a roll call.
Trustee Favdal,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
Trustee Clee,
No,
and Trustee Vert.
Yes. Okay, so, do we now go to,
If she wishes to make a motion to add any, or anybody else, this would be the appropriate time.
I'd like to make a motion to add an informational item to the agenda for a conversation. It is the ARPA one-time funding for employees. I know I made some comments at the last meeting, and I wanted to be
you're
able
going
to.
to talk about it right now? Or are you just going to add it? and
I'm
then
telling
talk-
you, yeah, I'm telling you what I'm adding. If I said I'm gonna add something and don't tell you what I'm adding, you're gonna say, we don't know what you're adding, so I'm telling you what I'm adding.
That'd be item G, ARPA funding.
Yes.
So is that a motion?
Yes.
Is there support?
I'll support it.
Roll call.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Favdal,
Yes.
Trustee Vert,
No.
Trustee Clee.
no.
You want one or no?
Is there a date on here?
Thank you, that's what I needed before I can vote yes on it.
Okay.
Move to approve the balance of the agenda the way it stands.
Support.
Do a roll call.
Did you support Lisa?
Yes.
Carol Favdal, wasn't it, or?
No.
No, Lisa?
Lisa.
Okay.
Trustee Favdal,
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
Trustee Clee,
Yes.
Trustee Vert,
No.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes.
Who was the seconder on that?
Lisa?
Lisa.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on, number 5, approval and correction of the minutes from the Board of Trustee meeting on July 17th.
I see no issues. I think I'm good. So as far as the.
Any questions?
Parking lot was the only thing, but I think
All in
we
favor?
fixed it. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, next is public comment. Anyone that wishes to speak has 4 minutes.
Kevin Stiff, G4020 Corona Road, the dive shop, resident in the township for nearly 40 years. The last meeting, I've never been so embarrassed in my life. I've been coming to these meetings for 15 years. I've never seen this township ran so poorly up until now. You people are board members. I've seen some things happen. Plant Moran was here. Did any of you notice what they said? Did any of you see the charts? We're broke. Did you see that? Did anybody in the audience see that? We're broke. And you guys were up here last meeting, and you fought like little children. A couple of you sat there, you looked like you were sound asleep, and you didn't have an expression on your faces. You should be ashamed of yourselves. We pay big taxes. I'm in business. My taxes keep going up. Every year, my taxes go up. That's fine. I don't know how many police officers do we have now. We can't afford them. You know? But if I ask the chief right now, I'm not supposed to ask any questions, but this year I think crime went up 20-some%. I know the fire department, their fires went up. Where are we supposed to pull that money from? You can't keep getting more taxes. That's not the proper English. You can't keep this up. Something has to happen. You know, something has to happen. What's going to happen in 4 or 5 years from now? I can't keep paying, the way it's going right now, in 5 years from now, I'm going to be paying $25,000 taxes. I can't keep paying them. And you guys, you go, well, you know, you can just, I don't know, well, you can just change it when I'm gone. Really? And you're looking right now, a couple of you are looking down, a couple of you are looking at me like, are you awake? I still bring up the same thing, Plant Moran. You people were lost. I asked a few years ago about changing the name. Well, we don't want to do that. We might offend the city of Flint, the people in the city of Flint. Do you know that I had 8 or 10 phone calls and I was called the most filthiest, dirtiest names because, Lord forbid, I want to change the name of the township. Like it offended them. Well, get on Corona Road and drive past Ballinger Highway and take a look at the city of Flint. I don't want to be named Flint Township because I'm going to offend somebody. It has nothing to do with that. Why don't you come down and pay my taxes? Why don't you people grow up? Why don't you just do something for us? You guys get your paychecks every month and you cash them. I haven't seen anybody do anything. I haven't seen a person go and talk to that assessor that raises my taxes. She went and when I went and talked to her, she says, well, I don't assess looking at businesses in Flint Township. She assessed my building on buildings in Grand Blanc and Davison.
Kevin?
Anybody else?
Hello, my name is Mary Beth Seward. My husband Neil often spoke at these meetings, and I never did, but I feel like we need some kind of closure. Neil was proud to live in Flint Township and wanted to do everything he could to help make it better. Due to his diverse work and career experiences, he had expertise in many different areas: security, fire and safety, first responder, fitness, writing curriculum and training classes, supervision and administration, among other things. He volunteered in many capacities and made a difference here, I think, and I think he's going to be really missed. Neil was excited to work with you on strengthening your policies and procedures for the township. It is my hope that you will continue to move forward on this project, as it is very important to have strong policies and procedures to conduct your business. As well as other things he was involved in, he loved working at the police station gardens, as I did. And I will really miss him there, as he did all the heavy-duty stuff, the grunt work he called it. Neil also respected and appreciated all of you for your hard work for the township. I am also proud to call Flint Township my home, and I intend to continue to be involved by attending meetings and doing what I can to help the township. I hope that you township leaders will take some of Neil's suggestions and ideas to heart and continue to strive to make things better. There is one more thing, which was a real concern of Neil's and mine. You, the township board and leaders, need to find ways to work together to get things done. Some recent meetings have not been productive and have actually been embarrassing. You need to remain professional at all times, and you need to listen to each other, really listen, and take a moment to try to see their point of view rather than waiting for them to take a breath so you can make your retort. Instead of digging in your heels, you need to look for some common ground and be willing to compromise if that would be best. You've done it in the past, and I know you can do it again. Please know that I respect and appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Beth.
Denise Smith, Flint Township. I'm just here again to talk about the proposed mega site that's going on Elms Road, between Elms and Linden and Hill and Maple Roads. There is an environmental study that was done, but it was done by the realtors group. It was not done by the EPA. And the EPA is, they're saying that the EPA, they're not going to have an environmental study done by the EPA, which would be absolutely necessary. If you go to the OSHA website, you can look up semiconductor plants, and you can also look up EV battery plants, and it will give you a litany of toxic chemicals that are hauled in, used to produce the products, and there is no information, or there's a lot of information on how the workers need to protect themselves, and they don't even know the extent of the damage that can be done. There are currently 19 city and townships that are on the water grid, from the water that's coming from Lake Huron through Detroit to our county. Every one of those sites, every one of those townships, cities, school districts, every building, every home will be affected by any kind of toxic chemicals that get into our water. We all know we don't need another water crisis here in our county, and we all know that we want to make sure that we do things right for our citizens. So I'm hoping somebody will take a look into some of the details of this toxic water. Tonight, Durand City Council is having a meeting, and they're withdrawing from the Shiawassee County Economic Development Plan. And there are a lot of other cities and townships that are starting to get engaged in protecting their residents and doing the homework to find out what is going into this property. As far as right now, we do not have an application for any companies that they want to purchase the land. But we do have a government and city or county officials that are well underway on promoting this site and trying to bring those type of companies into our state. So I just ask all of you, because I know that you would be just as concerned for your safety, your children's safety, and your grandchildren's safety, that you take a hard look at what's being proposed in our area, since all counties and the state will be affected by whatever happens on this site. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
Dave Yeoman, Genesee Township. I've worked in Flint Township for 5 years. I've worked for Flint Township for a little over a year on and off. My best friend's dad used to say, never miss the opportunity to shut up. And I think that's pretty good advice, so I'm going to try and keep this brief. Because we don't have a building official at the moment, I thought it'd be a good opportunity to update everybody on the rental program, which, if you don't know, has been in effect a little over a year. We've been collecting applications and fees pretty much since last June. It was put on pause for a couple months, but it started up again in October when I was hired back in. Since we started it up again, we've brought in $142,781.25, and I've inspected 1,181 rental units, and there's still thousands and thousands more out there to be inspected. To give you a sense of what we're dealing with, one of the inspections I went on today had 48 violations according to the International Property Maintenance Code. And that's everything from standing water in the basement, exposed wiring, no smoke detectors, no carbon monoxide detectors, no fire extinguishers, holes in the soffit, electrical panel hanging off the wall with exposed wiring, moldy carpet, and it's just deplorable conditions. And that's what our residents are having to live in. And without the rental program, there's no accountability to these landlords. So I think, getting the rental program up and running again has been a good thing. It's brought in some money. It's holding out-of-town landlords accountable. I'm a rental inspector and also a code enforcement officer, and I think it's a good step in the right direction as far as fighting blight, long grass, and a lot of the code violations that we see in Flint Township. So, it's a good step in the right direction, trying to clean up the township. So, thanks for your time.
David?
Anybody else?
Hi, I'm Mike Kilbreth. I spoke a couple weeks ago about the problem with our township treasurer not living at our address anymore. I've made a police complaint, and I believe everything I said has been pretty out in the open. I would urge this board tonight for someone to make a motion that from the date that she did not live in the township, she needs to reimburse the township for all that money. I see a letter tonight, and I'm not sure if you're voting on it when you accept her resignation, but to pay for insurance for the rest of the month. That doesn't make sense. She should pay back the insurance she got for July and the last part of June. No doubt about it. Now, I cannot understand how this township board can vote down $240 for a guy to get boots to do his job, and yet you vote for 2 members of this board to get $1,200 approximately reimbursed for a trip that was not pre-approved by this board. And yet I hear last week or 2 weeks ago that the township is broke. And that's how you spend your money? $2,500 approximately to send 2 people to a conference? and one of them doesn't even live here in the township anymore, so I don't know how that can even in good conscience that you can sit there and not rescind your vote if you voted for that. I think it's a measure of, I don't know if it's good PR or what, but to the rest of the community, your building inspector, either he has a big mouth or a lot of people have big mouths, because every community I go into, people are telling about this township board not paying for his $240 for the boots to do his job. You're a laughing stock. That doesn't even make sense. The guy went and took a job making more money in another community because you offended him, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand how you let a guy do his job and do it well and treat him like that. Doesn't make sense. Saying I'm sorry goes a big way toward being a responsible person, not even to consider you're an elected official spending tax dollars. And someone will make a comment, well, Mike, you don't live in Flint Township. I think I demonstrated last week or 2 weeks ago that 3% of the people sitting out here from Flint Township are actually paying to operate the township. The rest of the money comes from state and federal money. And believe me, I pay a lot of state and federal money over the years that's used to run this township. So don't say it's not my business, which I understand a couple people on this board made that comment about me. I don't like it. And as far as the money, it's tax dollars. The $1,200 for each of you to go to a meeting was not pre-approved. You should volunteer to give it back, number one. Number two, the $240 or whatever the amount was for that guy's boots, this board tonight should make a vote to pay that man this $249. If this last item is approved to give a township person who doesn't live here money for insurance, that's illegal. If you vote for it, I'll see to it you're prosecuted too. Because I won't rest until people like you start doing the right thing. You can't pay someone's insurance when they're not elected as an official that lives in this community. That's wrong. I just don't understand it. I can't comprehend it. I'm very angry about it, and I think something needs to be done. And you board members, if you do nothing, I asked for the chief to look up her driver's license. The statute also says,
There's your time.
The statute also says your homestead address, which applied to Kathy Funk.
Anybody else?
My name is Gerald Roberts. I'm in Flint Township. Got a tax bill. Taxes went up about $250 in 1 year. My valuation of my property went up $25,000, which meant $50,000 for true valuation. I asked to see how that was figured out through FICA. The tax assessor couldn't give me that. They gave me a listing of what the houses sold for around me, and there wasn't any of them that were even close to my particular valuation that they had on my property. One of the board members here I sponsored with regard to getting a job for her. I figured that she was probably the most qualified person to do this job. But I'm really disappointed. You know who I am, don't you? You know how I tried to get your job for you. But the stuff that I've seen you do within this last year, on a normal work day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, which is your normal work day, on a bus with me going to Soaring Eagle to gamble on a regular workday when you were supposed to be in this. You might say that you might have been on vacation. That might be very, very easy, in other words, to verify, in other words, by going back to the HRM records to see if you took vacation on that day, wouldn't it? As an auditor, I am ashamed when I come up here and I ask where you're at and I want to talk to you about some of my stuff. You're not here. I come up and I ask for the clerk. The clerk's not here. Now, I know there's an excuse for the clerk. She lost somebody in her family. But, you know, I lost somebody in my family too when I worked for General Motors. I had to put bread on the table, so I had to go back to work that next Monday. I sucked it up. I know grieving hurts. It really hurts. But it shouldn't be an excuse. In other words, not to come to work and to do your job. I think it was last meeting or the meeting before that, they wanted to hire 3 people to do your job because you're not here. What's going on? I talked to one of the gals here that's a trustee on the phone, and I said, you have to wake up. You have to wake up and see what's happening here. We need somebody to, you know, if there was a supervisor in the old days and there's nobody there to do the work, they sit down and they do the work themselves. They don't job it out. That's just a matter of fact. I'm disappointed. And you know who I'm disappointed in, don't you? From what happened last week? Simple thing, show your residency. You should not be paid if you do not live and have residency in this particular township, and you shouldn't be paid last month or this month or even paid anything. And that deal with regard to going up to Traverse City and doing that, there is a casino up there too, isn't it? Little River. I wonder if that's where you went on that particular trip to.
Jeez.
Thank you.
Is there anybody else? No? Okay, we're gonna move forward. These are reports. The only report I have is that this last Saturday on the 5th, anyways, first Saturday of every month, 10 to 12. Please come and join us picking up and trying to get rid of some of this. And we're gonna have to work really hard and come up with even a better plan because there's a lot and it just keeps piling up. And that is all I have. So, Manya, do you have anything?
We have a new business that's coming to the Genesee Valley. It's called the Heart of Worship Dance Studio. There will be a ribbon cutting on Sunday, August the 13th from 3 to 5. All is welcome. Really excited about that because that's going to give more businesses over at Genesee Valley.
Heart of Worship?
The clerk's department is gearing up possibly for a November election through the Carmen Ainsworth School Board. So that's a possibility. So we may have an election this year as well as next year. So we're gearing up for that because 9 times out of 10 it will be an election in November from the schools. I'd like to thank Tracy Chucker for being my deputy and for helping me out in my absence. Thank you.
Okay. Any trustee reports?
No.
Yep.
I'll go last. First. Skip over.
Pleasure.
Lisa, do you have anything?
No.
All right, then I'm up. I'm going to look to the two gentlemen in the, well, there's three gentlemen in uniforms this evening. I don't want to take any thrill in any year, but I want to publicly thank yourself, Chief Salter, your support staff. Chiza and Nemechek went above and beyond last Tuesday for National Night Out, and it didn't just happen Tuesday. I'm gonna, if you don't mind, if you want me to stop. tell me to-
You're good.
You guys both told me not to talk as much as, those two chased and went around the community and did some great things. We counted between the three of us, well, there were about five of us, when we tried to count pods, 10, and I've been doing this a long time. I can count pods in a football stadium, and I can tell you how many people roughly were there. I had over 1,000 easily, and we all counted over 1,000 numbers there. It was great. It was awesome. Cheese and Nemechek did a great job. All the guys worked diligently, hot in the morning, changed clothes, got dressed in good stuff, spent the whole afternoon there. Greg, you were there. LT, you were there. Then we changed out of our, well, some of us did, and we stripped that place down in probably 2 hours. I think it was the fastest we ever got it tore down, cleaned up, and ready to go. And then in the morning, Cheese, Nemechek, myself, Mr. Showalter, we were back there at about 8:15, and we took all the equipment that had been brought over there, and we delivered it back around the county to the folks that it belonged to, the crane, the generators, and all that. It was awesome. Both departments were there. The kids loved when the fire truck took off with the water in the air because they were able to cool off on that hot day. And I did get a call, I was the MC, I did get a call from a firefighter down on the road and made the announcement several times, don't know if anybody's in here. Somebody had parked on the grass at one of the doctor's offices. No issue. But the call came up and said, Tom, please let them know that this silver Lincoln or something, all the windows were down. They were parked on the grass. It was all good. The fire truck wasn't getting them wet, but they were right outside of two sprinkler heads that came on. And they were going back and forth, hosing the inside of that car. And I made the announcement multiple times, that please, if this is your car, it's being washed inside and out right now. And I don't know what happened on that one. That was Tuesday. Now I'm going to throw Chiza, our fire marshal Nestor, under the bus, because on Friday, we were all, myself included, we were at Walmart. Got there about a little after 8:15 and for the ribbon cutting, and that went amazing. And they had bounce houses and giveaways in the parking lot, and had a real cool reinventing, if you will, over $8 million of money put into that Walmart. Young man that's the manager now, it's funny, he acknowledged a 30-year lady that's been there 30 years. She was standing next to me, and just before she went up there, she put her arm around me, hugged me, because her daughter was on this side, and I had her daughter as a 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th grader. And she grabbed me and she said, Clee, thanks for sharing my daughter. And she grabbed me, didn't even realize I was standing there. She grabbed me and hugged me. But that young lady went up for 30 years. She's been in that store. They have 4 individuals that have been there 30 years. That's awesome. The store is beautiful. They smile at you, they say hello, and it's good work. But what was said on both microphones by the two chiefs for their support people and by the Walmart manager was, I can't thank Flint Township Police and Fire enough for everything that they do to help us. And the entire building department, everybody involved to help that $8 million plus project go off without just a few small hitches that got fixed. But gentlemen, I want to publicly thank you and your team. LT, you're here. Appreciate everything you did. Greg, retired on call. He was there helping out as well and smiling. It's those kinds of things are what really put a feather in the back of our cap for helping the community and being positive.
You're not going to leave anything for them to say.
I told them, I'll shut up now.
They're like closing their books up.
Oh, they got a lot of stuff to say. I know they do, but I did not want to take anything, but I wanted to publicly thank them and allowing me to be part of it. I'm good. I'll toot their horn whenever I can. I'm good. I'll sit
Tracy.
Just FYI, Planning Commission will not have a meeting this week. We have no items on their agenda. We did cancel the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting last week. We had, he brought up, or Monty brought up the ribbon cutting. That is this Sunday. Tom brought up the ribbon cutting that was last week. We do have some other ones coming up. Tommy's Car Wash is getting close. Chick-fil-A is getting close. We have ABC Warehouse is finishing up what they're doing in their new store. And then we have Appliances for Less is moving in on Corona Road. Their ribbon cutting is coming up in September, so you'll get some more information on that. And there seems like there was something else I wanted to bring up. Region 5 is having, or Region H, which is Region 5, is having the Regional Housing Partnership meeting tomorrow, so I'll be at that tomorrow. And I think that's it right now.
I was gonna say, because there's a new massage place on Bristol Road next to an urgent care place. And there's a new dental office on Linden Road. And then the old Discount Tire is, what's that called again?
Creative Mobility is
Right.
going in there. Yeah, they called the other day, they were trying to get their lines done. And we've been working with a couple of people with housing projects too, which we're hoping to get done. Sure. And we had some meetings with the e-commerce center. So they're moving forward on that. You'll be receiving some stuff on that because we do need to make that industrial development district. And then the logistics facility on Torrey Road, I've been working with them. That's going to, they've finally acquired the property that was beside it, and now they've gotten us their total plan for it, which is 192,500 square foot facility. So it'll be a little bit bigger than what we had expected now that they've got both properties, so. They're working with GM, so it'll be a big facility.
Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you. Chief Salter?
Yes, ma'am, thank you. Since our last board meeting here, there's been over 2,000 calls for service. It's over 100 per day. That number does include 100 disorderlies, 108 domestic violence calls, 7 persons with a gun, 1 shooting, 14 shots fired, 4 stabbings, and 74 unknown trouble. Well, that number does not include the 253 traffic stops, the 145 business checks, and the 106 residence checks your officers do since that last meeting. I know every day I come here and say how busy we are, but this is one, I'm going to explain one day that happened in Flint Township. 6:10 in the morning, we get a call of shots fired into a dwelling. Officers arrived on scene, and there's 29 shell cases of a .223 rifle on the ground. 2 people are hit inside of the house. They're both expected to live now. Later on that day, we had an overdose death. As our officers investigating that, we get called to a fatal accident on the ramp of southbound 75 to westbound 69. A semi-truck hauling sodium chloride tipped over, and the driver was pronounced dead on scene. That was just in one day in the last 3 weeks. They go on and on and on about the different types of calls we got, but I know the board knows how busy we are every day. I do want to talk about a few good things, though. First, we had the township cleanup that was Trustee Vert had last Saturday. She didn't include the 10 shopping carts, too. They got returned to Walmart.
I was trying to sell them.
Also, as Trustee Clee did say, we had a national night out last Tuesday night. Many people attended the event, from U.S. Representative Dan Kilby to our state rep, Jasper Martis, to some local officials. Thank you all for coming. With the free bicycle giveaways, the free food, the canine demonstration, the fire department demonstration, the magician, who I seen him walking around, I heard he did some great tricks with his cards and stuff that was blowing people's minds, even adults, which is good to see. I know a lot of kids went away with happy faces. I do want to say thank you to Trustee Clee for being the MC. Jerry Preston donated his sound equipment again, like he does every year. Also, the fire department was a great partner, as they are every year, with the demonstration to do and all the people that you guys bring to the event. Lastly, I'm gonna say lastly because I have one more thing. This could not have happened without all the help from our community, both our businesses and our citizens of the township. And of course, as Trustee Cleese did say, by the hard work by Officer Chiza with the assistance of Sergeant Nemechek. They both did a great job of making sure this event happened. I can't say enough about the hard work that they do for this. But then again, I'm gonna say lastly, I do not want to forget about Mary Beth Seward. She was there the day before, making sure everything in front looks great like it always does. So again, thank you, Mary Beth. I applaud you for that. And that concludes my report.
Chief Beckley.
My turn? Okay. Since the last board meeting on July 17th, your fire department's responded to 101 incidents. This has been about a 4.8 call per day average for us. This includes 8 structure fire calls, 4 vehicle accidents with entrapments, and 4 vehicle fires, all within the last 3 weeks. Before I start, I'd just like to thank Ashley Furniture here in Flint Township. They were generous enough to donate a bunch of new furniture to each of our fire stations, including couches, new kitchen table, things that have not been replaced or easily cleanable in many, many years. Several of our things were hand-me-downs from our current personnel and past personnel, and during the COVID-19 pandemic, we realized that some of our fabrics and things like that were not able to be cleaned. So this is a huge help to us. Several of these things were 30-plus years old, if not even older, and very, very worn out. So they were generous enough to come in and donate that. They did not want the publicity, but I felt that it was important to publicly thank them for their generous donation. A few years back, they actually came in and donated all new beds to each of our fire stations as well. Again, the first time that has been done in a long time as part of a statewide program, I believe that was. So they're a great partner to us, and we just want to thank them. Several of our fires in the past few weeks were kept small, luckily. One in the 9,000 block of Suncrest Drive at Sunridge Apartments. There was a laundry room on fire. Luckily, it was contained to a basket full of clothes, and there was minimal damage to the actual building. In the last few weeks, we have had several mutual aid calls to neighboring jurisdictions as well. On July 27th, we responded to the 1,000 block of East Judd Road, so just over the Fenton Road border. To assist the city of Burton on a house fire. We were there for about an hour with their crews. On the 30th, we responded to 7th and Lyon in the city of Flint to assist them on a house fire. This was a vacant house that was in very, very bad shape, and after about 40 minutes of their firefighters working on scene, they requested help. We were there for about 2 hours. On the 2nd, we assisted Mundy Township, just south of our area, on Linden Road, just south of Maple, for a house fire there. And then one of our own we had on Friday evening in the 1500 block of Ryan Street. We were called for a house on fire there. When our crews arrived on scene, there was a lot of fire coming out of the one side of the house, out of several windows. Luckily, there was no one home at that time. There was no injuries reported, but there was significant damage to that house. We did make contact with the homeowners who did come back. We were able to turn that scene back over to them. The cause of that fire is still under investigation at this time. Total this year, we've already surpassed our 2017 run numbers. As I've kind of been talking about over the past few months, our call volume is steadily increasing over the last few years. In 2017, we had about 770 incidents. We've already surpassed that this year. I also want to talk about National Night Out real quick. Thank you to the police department. We love that event. Although it is your event, our personnel and myself, we really like being there. It's a great way to connect with our community, show off some of the things that we have and that we do. It's just a really great opportunity to be out there. Also like to thank the Clio Fire Department, who was generous enough to bring down their smokehouse, which is a great opportunity for kids to get in there and some nice cotton candy flavored smoke, and guys, see what it's like to have to get out in an emergency. So, great resource. Just wanted to say thank you to them for bringing that down for us. As an update on one of our new full-time firefighters, firefighter Clements has completed his next portion of his training, and today is actually his first day on a 24-hour shift solo. So he is at Station 1 today, operating out there. So now he's in the next phase where he is on his own and he is staffing a fire engine. He's doing a great job, and we're going to continue to move forward. Our new ladder truck is complete. There are a couple of us heading to Ohio tomorrow morning to do the final inspection on that truck. Hopefully it'll be arriving in Flint Township by the end of August is my hope. There is some process that we have to go through to get that truck equipped, outfitted, training, all of that stuff. So it'll be a little bit before it actually hits the streets and service, but it is done, and we are excited to get down there tomorrow and begin that inspection process. And we do have one action item for the agenda tonight. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, are there any committee reports? Anybody around that's got a committee report? Nothing? No planning commission? No CPA? No?
Road commission, see, John, he's not
I
here.
think those are all canceled. Okay, so the next thing on the agenda is we need to go into closed session with the attorney. So I just want to say that I feel that that meeting, since it's closed, should be only to active members of the board. And since we have someone that doesn't live here, I don't think they should be participating in that meeting. So I don't know how we're going to handle that.
And there's nothing for me to handle. I need board direction,
Okay.
and so I've requested.
I know everybody up here is huffing and puffing and that type of thing, but I'm just going to state it, and then we can get a motion to go into closed session and take care of it. I'm just saying it's not right. Last meeting wasn't right. Don't live here, you can't do business here. You can't vote.
In regards to that, may I speak?
No, I said there's a motion to go into closed session.
I would move to go into closed session.
Time. And all,
52.
roll call.
Trustee Campbell,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
No.
treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
trustee Fabdahl,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes.
Time.
6:52. Can I
We're going to be moving.
suggest that we move out of the room and leave everybody seated here? So that we can
Put it under my foot.
Were you messing with my computer?
Everybody back in?
Oh,
I gotta re-sign on, but at least it's the remote. I didn't have to actually
hang
close
on,
it.
Barb, don't say anything yet, please.
Put in my Pentagon password.
Just a minute. I have 7:15, if that's what you would like.
7:15, we going?
Okay, we're gonna need a motion to come back into session.
52 to
Time,
7:15,
7:15.
we would move.
Court.
CPD. Damn.
We did roll call, we did roll call to go out, so let's do roll call coming in.
Trustee Burt,
No.
trustee Klee,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Fabdahl.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 8. Lisa?
I'd like to make a motion to pay bills in the amount of $1,577,187.86. We also had tax disbursements, distributions that went out in the amount of $1,453,565.20 for a total of $3,030,753.06.
Motion's in order. Did you make the motion?
Yes.
Lisa, second.
Support.
Carol? Roll call?
Clerk Triplett, yes. Trustee Fabdahl.
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
No.
Trustee Klee.
Yes.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, next on the agenda, we have set the public hearing for the Justice Assistant Grant. That's JAG. I think that meeting is set for August.
August 21st, the next board meeting
Huh?
the next board meeting at 6 PM.
And that's just
Take it, we don't take it.
Just a public hearing, to give it, one of our requirements to have a public hearing for the grant.
Right. All in favor of the public meeting
I
at,
don't think we have to motion. We do have to motion?
We need a motion.
To set the agenda? I
Thought they
thought it was
did.
just setting the public
no,
hearing.
I'm sorry.
I was just setting it. Clea would move to set the public hearing for the next board meeting in regards to the representative letter sent by Chief Kevin Salter for the open listening, open conversation, August 21st, regarding the FYI, the year 2023 Justice Assistant Grant Fund monies. In other words, public hearing next board meeting.
I'll second it.
Deb,
Ask me to talk. Did.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Next is the, to authorize the signatories for the JAG grant, and that would be Lieutenant, a motion is in order for Lieutenant Brad Wengler and Supervisor Karen Miller to be the signatories to the JAG grant 2023.
We would move the motion to authorize Lieutenant Brad Wengler and Supervisor Karen Miller as the signatories for the 2023 JAG grant.
Is there support? Support. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, board.
Okay, now we need a motion, let me see here, to renew the 2023 Charter Township of Flint millage rates, and that is to be sent through Paula's request list by September 30th, and this is a renewal, so I'll need a motion.
Oops.
I'll make the motion.
I was trying to get there. I was, too many things open right now. Apologize. All right. Clea will second that.
Need a roll call?
Trustee Burt,
Yes.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson.
I had a question. We didn't have any discussion.
I'm sorry.
Oh. Sorry.
This is. This is for next, for 24. Agree the millage.
Yes, it's
I
a
guess
renewal.
I
It's a
guess-
renewal. They're exactly the same.
Yeah, I guess that was,
For winter
For
2023.
winter 2023.
Okay.
Yes, it's just the same.
yeah, I thought there was some, we had some conversations at staff meetings that we would look at potentially increasing those millage rates some.
I don't know what meetings you were at. I mean-
Staff meetings.
Yeah, I know.
Would that be a
That's what I'm
vote?
asking.
Would that be a vote of the people, or would it not?
Pardon?
Would that be a vote of the people?
It would
if I'm
have
not
to,
mistaken?
yes.
Okay,
That would
so
be
there-
correct.
yeah, so that's a vote of the people.
just didn't
We gotta have
know-
discussion.
I'm sorry?
I said that was a vote of the people, so yes, we would have to have multiple discussions about that. You're right, to change these. Okay. I'll listen in on that.
So we should table it for now?
I would
No,
just-
no, I don't think, I'm sorry.
That's what I was, I mean, if we adopted, could we go back maybe later and if we changed the mind, is that what you're saying?
No, I'm saying, I guess what I'm saying is, this is the winter rates for 2023. We would not have, there
Oh, we'd
would,
have to wait until
right, we wouldn't
January
have
for
any
24,
votes. Right,
for
we would not,
24.
there would be no voting
Okay.
opportunity for this at this
Okay,
point in time.
thank you for that clarification.
Yes, ma'am, gladly.
Other questions?
Roll call, please.
Bert moved, T. Clay second.
Okay, trustee Clee,
Yes.
trustee Campbell,
Yes.
treasurer Anderson,
Yes.
trustee Burt,
Yes.
clerk Triplett, yes, trustee Fabdo.
Yes.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda, Sergeant Beckley.
Sergeant?
Chief.
Demotion.
I'm good with that. Just
No.
kidding.
No.
Thank you. As we are all aware, one of our fire engines was involved in an accident back in March of this year. That truck was deemed a total loss. We have since received the full payout from the insurance company in that truck at $356,700. I know we've had this conversation before, but that still leaves us one fire truck short, even with our new one coming, of where we typically operate. We have been searching the country basically through multiple listing sites, companies, dealerships, trying to find a suitable replacement truck. With the cost of new trucks rising, build times are now over 4 years for a new fire engine. And we need to replace this truck sooner than that. We are in the market for a used fire truck. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of companies out there, places out there that sell them, so we are kind of limited on where we're able to look for these. Assistant Chief Rowley and Captain Merriam traveled to Kentucky last Thursday and Friday to look at a used engine down there. They were able to drive it, pump with it, utilize it for a little bit, to make sure that it would be a suitable fit for us. And after that, they feel like it is a good fit for our department. This truck is a 2012 International Pierce fire engine. So I'd like to request that we purchase this truck for $106,000, and that will include a delivery to us from Redline Fire Trucks LLC in Corbin, Kentucky. The funding for this truck I'm requesting come from the insurance money that we receive from that, so it won't affect the general fund budget or the fire equipment millage at all. We will have to put some minor changes into this truck once it gets here, like lettering, some compartment configurations, some equipment that needs to be installed on it. So that will cost some money that I'd also like to take out of that fund. Even after all that is done, I'm expecting there to be over $200,000 left in that left in that payout from the insurance company, which I would like to request be allocated for fire equipment or apparatus purchases that we will need in the future. With these rising costs of equipment, gear, trucks, all of that stuff, our millage, I'm afraid, eventually is going to be short. So I would like to use that to hopefully help us catch up and prepare for future purchases. So with your approval, as soon as this Redline Fire Trucks LLC receives the funding for this truck, they will ship it to us and hopefully be here within the coming weeks for us to begin the process of getting it in service and available as a backup truck for our community.
We would move to accept Chief Beckley's recommendation per the included invoice for the cost of the vehicle at $106,000. Included with that, as he had stated, any additional dollars necessary for lettering, configuration, adding of some off and on accessories. And secondly, that the other additional dollars left over out of the insurance payoff of $356,700 maintain its status in the fire department. That's my motion.
I'll support it.
Questions?
Repeat it, guys.
Okay, roll call.
Trustee Fabdo.
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes. Treasurer Anderson.
Yes.
Trustee Campbell.
Yes.
Trustee Clee.
Yes.
Trustee Burt.
Yes.
Thank you, Board.
Okay, we have action item E. And I was just gonna say that if there weren't any objections, I'd like to accept that resignation effective immediately.
It's effective end of day tomorrow.
The, what I had stated was effective if there were no objections. Are there any objections?
Yeah, if she wants to have it at the end of the day tomorrow, I think that's fine.
I'm just gonna speak. So first of all, a resignation is not necessary. This seat has been vacated, absolutely 100% vacated. There is no address for Flint Township. It was asked by the supervisor, it was not given. It has been asked, I think, in different ways, maybe from the attorney, I don't know, but nothing has been done. This person has not been in the office. She has an IP address that is not here in the area. Her department has been vacant a person. Her deputy has worked his tail off for months to maintain this place. We have done interviews last week. There was no phone call to say, how did it go to replace that full-time position in her department? I don't know how. The only reason you need a resignation is to continue with the township health insurance, which has been an issue with certain board members, that she would like employees to get rid of that and not take our insurance, which is a very good health insurance, if you can take the other. And that could have happened. So we have had a nightmare of phone calls over the last few days of something I've never seen. It is in black and white. You cannot hold the office of an elected official in Flint Township without a valid address, period. And if she continues, and when I read this where it says, and I expect to have the same practice. So the last person that resigned, there was discussion on this board that, fine, we'll give her the 7 days left of the month. So if that's what's expected, you had the 7 days in June. You do not get July, and you certainly don't get August. And it's shameful, and I think it's committing fraud that you're even here today. So I don't know what anybody else wants to say.
Usually because I worked in the insurance industry, but people keep their insurance, it depends on the company policy, but usually until the end of the month that they're resigning on most companies. So a real small company.
Do you understand what I just said, though? She can get insurance. The only reason this is here is to keep the insurance for 1 month for August. And she's had it in July, and she has not been here. There is no address. It's a pretty simple thing to say, I live here or I don't, or I lease.
Get an address here. I think we'll let Lisa.
I don't need to
She
speak to
can't-
that.
she
I don't need
can't
to speak to
speak on
that.
this. She
I
can't
can,
speak.
I can speak on it. I've actually got my timeline, and I can go and get my timeline. But,
Gildner, she cannot talk on her resignation. She can talk after a motion's been made or something, is that correct? I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, I mean, because this is just,
Please.
it is so out of control, and it could have been handled so much differently.
She cannot vote on her resignation.
Right.
There is no motion before you. So my first suggestion is someone make a motion and second, and then there can be some discussion.
True.
In terms of discussion, I don't see any problem with her discussing, but she cannot vote. And I've made that clear to her. She cannot vote on her own resignation.
I would make a motion that we accept Lisa's resignation effective tomorrow.
There's no resignation.
You made a motion?
I'll second.
Discussion.
I've got a question on benefits. So whether it stopped today or it stopped at the end of the month, haven't we already paid it? I mean, you don't stop benefits in the middle of a month. The township's gonna pay for it anyways. Is that true? If we've already paid for it.
It depends on the
It
company.
depends on the company. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, it depends on
It
the
Madam
depends.
Chair,
I
I
don't
don't know
know.
if you can hear, but there's an awful lot of discussion. I'm having trouble hearing what
Okay.
you all are saying.
My only
Come to
question
order.
is, with that is.
I'm sorry if I'm acting that way. I'm just, this has just been an absolute nightmare. A nightmare.
Madam Trustee at the other end, we
Go
both
ahead.
had, if you'd like to go ahead.
No,
I was just gonna say, as my illustrious trustee to my right, who has been in benefits as well, and it depends on the company itself. And having sat on negotiating committees, not only with the township, but in my other position, depending on whether you are an, I'm gonna use the term at-will elected or union employee, it all is different. It's all different on how that's laid out. As an at-will employee, it's different, it could be written in the contract. As a contract employee, it's written in the contract, correct me if I'm wrong. And as a union employee, I have different regulations as a union employee over there than I would if I wasn't a union employee. So you were gonna lead in, you were gonna say something, I didn't mean to cut you off, but in that respect, about the
No, that-
benefits, the length of the benefit.
That's what I was saying. Every company is different on how long they're gonna pay for benefits. So occasionally it's day of, occasionally it goes in, more often than not, it goes till the end of the month. But that's what I've seen. I've looked at a lot of benefits.
Does that also, and I'm gonna follow up on it, does that lead into when they're paid versus if they're prepaid or postpaid? You know what I'm saying? First of the month, end of the month, I don't know, and that's, I think that would be a Kevin McIntyre question, and we.
Point is she doesn't live here. I don't know why we're even talking about this. She is vacated the seat, period.
I know that the end of last week, and you're right, this has been really uncalled for. There was a paper that Treasurer Anderson was trying to get signed to get released from her insurance. Does anybody recall that?
Saw it. I
You
never saw
remember that,
it.
Barb? That
I do.
paper?
You came down and put it between Kevin McIntyre and
No, I
said it
didn't.
was illegal.
I didn't put it between you and Kevin McIntyre. I gave it to our HR person, and I believe she came in and gave it to you guys. So I know that she has been trying to get released from the insurance. And I don't know where they went after that, because I did talk to the attorney about it to see where do I go with this.
She wants it to be, would be.
So, Mr. Gilner, so, could you speak on that then? Because Michigan Planners was very clear on where we went with that.
So I don't know that I can answer that without talking about the whole residency thing. And since there's been so much discussion, and I've said this to you, I've said it to Lisa, I've said it to Karen, and to anybody else who's asked. So a vacancy happens by operation of law, among other things, if residency is lost. By operation of law, which means no action must be taken. It happens automatically when residency is lost. Now, that would be a very simple thing if Lisa acknowledged that she gave up a residency. I told you Michigan election law says you can have two residences. The question is, where do you spend most of your time? So as I have explained many, many times to this board, there's only a couple of ways that we can determine that residency has been lost. One, there's court order, which says that residency has been lost. There's been no board action directing that a lawsuit be filed to determine that action. If it was, as I've said, we know there's not going to be a decision made before September 1. Things don't happen that quickly. So that's one option. Two, the board throw the ball into Lisa's court and say, this seat has been vacated, and then it's up to her to either leave the dais or to go to court and fight for it. There's been no such motion that has been made. So everyone looks at me. You've got to declare something. Well, I don't have that power. Even if I did a full-fledged investigation, which in this case would include following her around or hiring someone to follow her around to determine where does she spend her time, which again, nobody has directed me to do, and I haven't done, then the question remains. But if I were to come to you and say, I think she's lost residency, and she says, Gildner, I think you're wrong, we still are back to options 1, lawsuit, 2, board action. So I've laid out those options. I've laid out those options repeatedly, and I'm in no position to tell you whether it's been lost or not lost. I've heard Lisa say where she's at. I've seen the property transfer documents from her place. That's all I have at this point. I haven't followed her around, nor have I asked anybody to follow her around. Now, in terms of the benefits, Ms. Vert, which is what you really asked for, last week there was much controversy over that. I received lots of phone calls that she can't do it, yes, she can do it. And the position that I've taken all along is it's a contractual matter. It's not a legal matter. You guys have insurance through a plan provider, and that plan administrator is going to say whether she's eligible for benefits or not. And because I was hearing from different people what was allowed and wasn't, I simply offered to try to make contact with the plan administrator and listen to what the answer was. And I did that. I listened. Ms. Anderson got one of the representatives on the line, explained what it was that she was trying to do, and the plan administrator says she can do it. I'm in no position to agree or disagree with that because I'm not a party to that contract. If the plan administrator says it can happen, it can happen. And again, my role was simply as a witness to that conversation. So that answers both questions, at least to the best of my ability. I'm happy to answer any others, but
It can only happen with a resignation.
I don't recall if they said the resignation, retirement, but the situation that it was described to the plan administrator is, I think, consistent with Lisa's letter. And that's when they said, well, yeah, that can happen.
Has to be for cause. That's what I remember. I mean, she has to, she just can't say, I don't want it. She had to have a resignation.
There had to be something tendered, yes, in writing from Lisa. And Lisa said, well, I'm prepared to do just that.
So where does that with is this letter then, I'm gonna ask the question, is this letter the official notice and cause that the Michigan planners would recognize this as the cause of the separation?
I don't recall there being any discussion about for cause in that phone call. It was simply, it was a letter from Lisa indicating that she was resigning her spot. And they said it has to be in writing and it has to be from her. And she said she was prepared to do that.
And in so doing, I guess that my question again, and I don't know if Kevin can answer this or you can, I think it should all revolve around right now on what are the dates of when we pay for insurance and when they accept our our payment. If we prepay the month of August, then we're kind of stuck, the money's already sent at this point in time. If we haven't prepaid and we pay at the end of the month for the employees that are employed by us, I don't know how that works. I personally don't.
Nor do I, and I can tell you there was no such discussion with the plan representative about it. In other words, that person didn't express some concern that, well, wait a minute, you can't do it mid-month. It has to be at the end of the month or the beginning of the month. There was no discussion about that. It was expressed that she intended to give this letter at this meeting, and so the plan representative knew when the letter was going to be given, which is obviously mid-month.
Any more discussion?
I know where I came from, the insurance, and again, I still haven't got an answer from what they do here, but they were at the end of the month and they were prepaid, so I'm not sure what the township does.
It's not that. So, okay, there's a motion and a second on the table, is that correct?
Yep.
What was the motion?
You may
Deb,
read
you
it.
moved.
Yeah, to accept her resignation.
Do we need to have an effective date in there at time, looks like?
Should be, it's stated in there.
That we accept her resignation effective tomorrow, end of 5 o'clock tomorrow.
You could just say as presented, if that's what you wish to make,
Okay.
as presented.
As presented.
You know, there was some discussion on that, but I didn't take that as a motion, so that's why I'm asking for clarification.
We had a motion and a second to get into deliberation.
Before we vote, I'm just going to say in all due respect, I feel like you're not protecting the board and that you're actually here for Lisa. And that's how I feel, and I have to state that.
May I
So-
may I respond?
Sure, absolutely.
What do you have in mind that I do, given what I've explained to you are the options?
Because there's recall that you have that I'm just going, it was pretty clear from Michigan planners what was going on. I mean, that was a crazy, crazy time. And you had to have a resignation, and I'm like, you can't have it if she's vacated it, and that's what I don't understand. You know, so what is the big deal that this person can't say, I live at 123 Dye Road, okay? Because she has not been here. Her
So,
office is vacant.
For purposes of tonight,
Yes.
assume I agree with you. I agree with you, that's absolutely the case. Now what? Lisa says, I'm not giving up my seat, I'm gonna stay right where I'm at. Then what?
So what's it do, go to court?
I mean it as a legitimate question. Gilner, remove her from her seat. I'm not going to do that. Go to court to declare it. I'll do that. But once you understand the position that I'm in, I have no power. My opinion is simply an opinion, which has no force of effect. So when you say that I'm protecting her interest, I'm prepared to do whatever this township board directs me to do. You've directed me to do nothing.
There was a direction to do an investigation.
There was, and I spoke with her about that, and she told me what she said in this board meeting 2 weeks ago, that she resides here, that she has this arrangement with a neighbor, that, she's investigated her options. Now, that puts me in the position, I can come to you and say, I don't believe a word that she says. Now what? We are still back to the same two options, which are file a lawsuit or make a motion. I'm not going to follow her around, nor have you asked me to determine that she is in fact lying. So, with all due respect, I will be accused of many things, but one of them is when all I do is give legal advice, and I've given that advice. I know that some members of you have checked with other lawyers to get advice. And I don't see them here. So I assume they're giving the same answers. So there will be many things that I will accept responsibility for, but doing nothing in a case that I can do nothing is not one of them.
May I speak? Sure. May I speak? In all due respect of everybody across this board, Michael, I appreciate you and what you're doing and what you've been asked by multiple people in this situation and your professionalism. And with that said, I would like to call the question. However, I would like to suggest that we make sure that, and I'm just going to read from your letter, if I may. Tender keys, job, fob, cell phone, iPad, and everything to Kevin McIntyre no later than 5:30 tomorrow evening. Also, personally, I'm going to ask just to amend, if we may, and you can deny this or not, but that we have our HR people look at what we have to do for you to get continued insurance with us, or secondly, you go to Flint Schools as your retirement, if I may, your retirement, and if it has to be ended by a letter that we sign tomorrow, then so be it. I asked the question a little bit ago, prepaid, postpaid, we may not be in a position to be able to stop the August at this point in time, or whatever. So in lieu of that, I just say I'm asking for the question to be posed that we vote yes to accept this and move on to the next piece on the agenda.
Is a person a second?
Oh, hang on a minute. I did.
What is the motion that was made, please?
There's a motion to accept. The
How-
first motion is to accept.
And then I amended, I said I move to accept with an amendment that we pursue the action necessary for Madam Treasurer for her insurances at that, to either be null and void effective 5:30 tomorrow, and our HR department assist in getting that swapped to Flint Schools, your retirement account.
It won't be mid. We've talked to Michigan
I'm
planners.
just-
This is the practice that we've done with everybody else that left the township.
Yeah, I was gonna ask that.
It's not, it's the same.
It's.
Okay, so so are we making an amendment?
I don't.
I'm not amending my letter.
It's not amending our letter. Do you want to take that back?
So my motion dies.
You called for the question, we should be going for the vote.
Exactly.
With an amendment, and I asked to have the amendment voted on. So that's my question. I'm asking that my new motion with the amendment be voted on. So please, could you call roll call?
Did you make the original motion?
I did not.
Deb did.
Deb did, so Deb has to.
Right, if she wishes to incorporate that, then it's a friendly amendment. If not, then
There's no way,
it fails.
right? Would you like to accept that or no?
No, not
Okay,
with the details.
then it holds weight, no weight.
Roll call.
Accepting the
Accepting the-
resignation.
Whole thing.
What's the benefits? As presented as.
Trustee Burt?
No.
Trustee Clee?
Nope.
Trustee Favdon?
Yes.
Treasurer Anderson?
I can't vote.
That's right. Trustee Campbell?
Yes.
Clerk Triplett, yes.
Mike?
So,
I know Lisa as recused
point of order
for that vote.
to the attorney.
Abstained. Okay, thank you.
Point of order to the attorney, having accepted that resignation, but question, having accepted that resignation, can she state at the table this evening?
The resignation as presented is for it to take effect tomorrow.
Okay. Just wanted clarification.
The added item, ARPA funding agenda.
No,
I'm sorry?
F.
F?
Full-time tax.
Oh, hire full-time, I am so sorry. Hire full-time vacant position in the tax department.
We don't have anything.
And we
Right.
don't have anything, so,
I move to,
Ready to go?
Yeah,
But Tom didn't have any backup information on it.
no, I didn't have anything.
So Kevin didn't have any, there's nothing.
We do, it just didn't get put in
Put
here.
in here, okay.
You know, a lot of other crap.
All right.
Okay, item G.
Item G, again, it's just a talking point. I know at the last meeting that we attended, during some of the heated discussions, I had mentioned there appeared to be some wrongdoing of handling of the ARPA dollars when we gave the money out to the employees. So I did go back and check. I want to be a woman of my word. I'm not just.
I'm just gonna call her out of order. She is talking about something that should have been taken care of a very long time ago.
We didn't find out about it a long time ago.
That is not true.
We didn't find out about
I
it
am talking.
until there
And
was
so how do
a,
we, order? How, I'm sorry. This is like her last stand to slander somebody, and I.
This isn't slander.
It is slander.
If her name is
If
on,
there is an
if she
invest-
signed the document, it's not slander. Is that not true, Attorney Gilner? All we're representing is board resolutions that took place.
Clear? I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
And that-
Excuse me, what I mean by that is, I haven't seen a letter that,
Can I
Lisa,
present
I
one
don't
to you?
need, for my purposes, I don't need to see it. All I know is that G is talking about ARPA funding. That was added to the agenda. There can be discussion about that. What that discussion is or where it leads, I'm in no position to say, well, you can't talk about that, except it needs to be germane to ARPA funding. That's all I know.
So I'm not out of line for sharing what I'm sharing. Is that correct?
If that deals with ARPA funding,
It does deal with
that's
ARPA
what is
funding.
on the agenda.
Yes.
well, you have the floor, but I move to accept the information as informational for discussion at a later date of the packet so given to me because I haven't had a chance to review it. I move to look at it at a later date.
You can look at it deeper at a later date, but today I want to just share that I did make those comments.
Excuse me,
regarding-
did I make?
Wait a minute. Is that a motion?
Yes, sir, it is.
It's actually a motion to postpone. if you're
Postpone
doing it
at a later date, once I've had a chance to review it.
Parliamentary is, if there's a second, then that motion needs to be voted on. If there isn't,
My motion is to postpone to be viewed at a later date, I'm sorry.
And I did say yes, so we need a roll call.
Trustee Burt,
Yes, for postpone.
trustee Campbell,
No.
trustee Clee,
Yes.
trustee Fabdoll,
No.
clerk Triplett, no. Here we go.
So my motion fails.
Can I
So-
continue?
Yes.
So I only have information, and a lot of this is for when we go into our policies. I think this is a very strong one that we need to look at. This board took several votes to give our first responders a one-time payment, a stipend from the ARPA dollars. Every resolution is in here. We had voted on those. We knew who those dollars were going to, our first responders. But Supervisor Miller took it upon herself to issue $5,000 payment to Stuart Worthing, ARPA dollars that was not voted on by this board. She never contacted me to see if any discussions at the Personnel Committee. She said last board meeting that she did not do that. We have it right here, every document. So I just think as we move forward, this is wrong, this is criminal, this is what should be investigated, this should go to the police. And I think a lot of this anger and this attacking is that she did not want this to come out. There's some other things that are out there. She did not want this to come out. So I just want to share this with the board. We need to look at how we, and I've got copies for the community if anybody wants one. But she did, she gave a payment and it wasn't off. Not only did she give one payment, she gave two, because at some point, we decided to give all of our staff up to $1,000. This particular individual got the $1,000 because she couldn't reveal that she'd already given him $5,000. Shameful. So that's all I have to say on that. You can bring it back up later, Tom, and have some discussion with the board. That would be nice to kind of see what should happen, how you can avoid that going forward.
If the policy is the board is supposed to vote on raises, then we need to have a chance to vote on it. Or spending of ARPA.
Spending of ARPA. We even had to turn down, we even said no when the ComOps came up. After we gave the police, the first responders, ComOps came up and said, hey, we want some of that too. It was a hard decision, but the board said no. How does this Stuart Worthing get $5,000 without any, her signature's right there where she turned that thing in and he got that $5,000. That's why we're broke.
Oh, jeez.
Is there anything else?
No.
Meeting adjourned.